13 years later, Sonic Generation races his way to consoles with his latest remaster, Sonic X Shadow Generations. This time around, Shadow has his own playable story campaign. Shadow's story takes place during the same exact time as the original Sonic Generations story, and an enemy known as the Black Doom has returned, threatening to take over the world. Shadow must now journey through his past to save the world and to put an end to the Black Doom and his evil plans. The story for the Shadow story is pretty linear, yet it sets its tone almost immediately and has a lot of heart to it. Having the past come back works great as it allows Shadow to be somewhat vulnerable, as we see how his past relationships with his friends and foes shape him into the hedgehog that we know and love today. The gameplay is very similar to Sonic Generations when it comes to the core gameplay loop of completing both acts on each stage, doing challenges to unlock the keys, and using those keys to reach certain boss fights. However, this time around, Shadow's hub world has a free roam, which is inspired by Sonic Frontiers, which is also free roam. Throughout the game, you unlock abilities known as Doom abilities, and each ability ranges from range to melee attacks, which allows you to traverse hard to reach areas in the hub world to further progress in the story. The Doom Spears attack targets from afar. The Doom Blast helps you reach far and high places by kicking an enemy towards your destination. The Doom Surf allows you to surf on water. The Doom Morph turns you into a squid that lets you swim through purple substances. And last but not least, the Doom Wing lets you fly. But you need at least 50 rings to activate the Doom Wing. These abilities are a great addition to the game, but the only one that gave me a hard time was the Doom Morph due to its clunky movement and traversal. The levels are well designed for the most part when it comes to variety and completing them. You can either run straight through them or discover shortcuts and alternate paths. Each Doom ability you unlock can be used on new and previously completed levels, which offers more ways to beat your record. And if things get really rough, then you could use your Chaos Emerald in order to stop time. Overall, Shadow Generation gets 9 out of 10 rings, with the only thing holding it back is its Doom Morph ability due to how clunky it feels and the bad camera you will get from using it at times. However, this game is a really fun addition to Sonic Generations that manages to expand its lore by showing us what exactly Shadow was up to during that game, while also paying respect to the original story at the same time. For the Sonic portion of this game, the remaster is done really well. The game manages to play and feel the same as the original did over a decade ago. It has a nostalgic charm for both old and new players as you play as both classic and modern Sonic throughout the game. Classic Sonic keeps his iconic 2D platform gameplay, while modern Sonic has a mixture of both 2D and 3D platforming gameplay. As a player of the original release back in 2011, everything was there just the way I remembered, perfectly untouched or untampered with. Especially with the best level in the game being City Escape with modern Sonic. Sonic Generation gets 9 out of 10 rings.
And you're only gonna get better!
The remaster is great, however, it also falls victim to weird camera angles during certain levels or boss fights, and Planet Wisp still manages to be the worst level after 13 years later due to its overcomplicated gameplay and mechanics that they introduced just in that one level. Nonetheless, this game is still really fun to play. As an overall game, Sonic and Shadow Generations is a great time and receives 9 out of 10 rings rating. Bringing Sonic Generations back was a great idea alone, but adding Shadow's story into the mix just adds more fun to the experience for new and old players alike. Usually, with this type of game, it's recommended that you play the original game story first, which is Sonic's, but here you could play either Shadow or Sonic's story first. And don't worry about being confused from playing in a different order as the original game, because each story ties into each other perfectly without any retcons happening. So if you haven't already, I highly recommend you play this game, whether you play the original Sonic Generations game or not. you'll have a really fun time, and I believe you'll really enjoy Shadow's overall story and how everything ties together. And with that being said, that's going to be the end of this review. If you like what you heard and saw, be sure to hit that like and subscribe button and hit that notification bell so you can get notified when I make new videos. I do movie reviews, TV reviews, and video games review like you see here. So with that being said, see you on the next one.